Since last week, we've been following a string of UFO sightings along Lake Erie near Cleveland. This weekend, field investigators from an organization called Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, spent several nights in Euclid, Ohio, trying to see the mysterious lights. The group has also been trying to piece together possible explanations. Joining us now is Tom Wertman, a field investigator with MUFON, who spent part of the weekend in Euclid. Tom is also a pilot. Tom, you were there Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I know that the weather was awful, but to the extent that you saw something, what did you see? Could you describe it?
Well, Friday night's when we had the most activity on there, David. We had 3 different appearances of lights along the lake to the northwest. And the first appearance, they came out for roughly about 2 minutes, of which the light appeared a little bit dim, went much brighter, went back dim again. And it appeared the lights were heading in a southwest direction as they left. The longest appearance was roughly about 6 minutes long.
And Tom, your analysis of in terms of the possible explanations, what do you think is the most likely?
Well, the one thing we do have up in the Cleveland area is a lot of air traffic, and I think that's one thing that we need to look at, because the air traffic coming in from an area like Chicago does go out and over the lake before it comes back inland again. And after plotting some paths out, some of the movements I had on videotape appeared consistent with that, David.
In other words, it's somebody in Euclid, if they're looking and say to the north-northwest at a flight that may be on final approach towards Cleveland Airport, if that plane is essentially going over the lake and then turning around from a certain vantage point and a distance away, it may look like it's just essentially hovering. In other words, it may be coming at you and not changing its space in the sky from your vantage point.
That's correct. And that's something I think we just need to pursue farther and look at flight paths of any aircraft going over the lake.
Now, you've analyzed some 44 still photographs that were taken by one of the witnesses we had on last week. What did you find out in terms of looking first at his still photographs in terms of the level of exposure, the shutter speed, and whatnot?
Well, one of the things that's important is if somebody does have occurrences like this many nights in a row, it'd be very valuable to have the camera in a tripod, because there was some camera shake, which makes it a little bit more difficult to discern the images. Another thing is, after looking at some of the digital information, the photos had longer exposures due to the camera being like an auto exposure, and if the night, it actually went up to about 8 seconds on a few of the photos, which kind of distorted them some.
Well, Tom, we know that you're on the case, and we'll continue looking at trying to analyze some of the videos and keeping track of all this, and we appreciate you joining us today. Tom Wertman, who's part of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and again, we will report to all of you what Tom and other investigators are able to find in the days ahead.